Microdose, yeah. Microdose, 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 dose. Microdose, microdose, dose. Microdose, microdose, dose.
What's good, y'all? Kush here, coming to you. Newest edition of the Microdose. Brand new year. Everything is alive and well for the time being. Let's just get right to it. My man, funniest man in the room, Drew Angelman. Welcome back. Happy New Year, buddy. What's good with you?
Happy New Year. Yeah, I'm just working on content. Happy to be here. Happy to talk about movies. I'll be honest, though, looking at this quarter one, I mean, we were talking about it. Not starting off excited,
No.
but as we're moving towards into the year a little bit more, that's when I get very excited. But I'm doing well so far.
Yeah, man. Let me break this down to you. 1 year ago, we had Megan, then we had Plane, and then we had Missing, and I was just like, we are being blessed. Like, so I saw Night Swim this past weekend, and it's dull. It's dull. I mean, it's a haunted swimming pool movie, so I don't know how exciting or I don't know how good it could have been to begin with. Like, it's at least more credible than the haunted cell phone from 15 years ago. But Night Swim was not good. I'll be giving a review of it on the Waffle Box. I guess I've already done that then. Yeah, I should give it a 1, but it's a 2 at best. Yeah, it was
Okay.
not enjoyable. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, thank God it's short on time, but like that was still a long 95 minutes. I was just like, fuck.
Yeah, me and my friend, we don't go to the movies a lot, but we'll try to hit like once a month or every 2 months. We'll try to get together, and normally we pick one of the worst movies released at the time. Probably going to be out of theater soon, or it's a really bad horror movie. And when I saw Night Swim as a YouTube ad on a video that I was watching, I messaged her immediately and said, we're going to go see Night Watch in January. And she's like, I don't know what that is. And then I sent her the ad for it, the trailer for it. And she was like, yeah, we have to go see this movie. And it doesn't look great. And I was like, no, it doesn't. That's why we have to go see it. So
Yeah,
that's on our list.
I wish I could tell you it's like that enjoyable bad where, like, it's just no one's taking things seriously. Every line is a laugh, but nah.
Yeah.
Nah. I'll let you guys have at it, man. Saw The Beekeeper, and that's just Statham being Statham. So it's almost never a bad time, but it was like, I've seen you be better, Statham. I don't know.
Fun fact, the first time I saw that trailer was at the front of Expendables 4, and I was like, I don't know what this is. And when it got through it, I was like, this looks so bad. And then I started watching Expendables 4, and it made that trailer look like an Oscar-worthy film. And I was like, maybe I should go see The Beekeeper.
Yeah, you get emotionally hooked into it because it's all about Jason Statham is avenging this woman who kills herself because she got credit frauded. Like, they clean out all, like, millions of dollars just gone in a flash, and so, like, but here's what, whoever wrote this must have wrote this like 20 years ago when cybersecurity and like, when it goes down, her phone immediately starts vibrating with notifications from all the banks saying, we detected fraud. We've detected fraud. We've detected fraud. Like, you're supposed to click those links. Okay. And then they will go like, oh, we knew that was fraud. Here's your money back. Like, we live in a wonderful time compared to just 20 years ago with this stuff. But no, Felicia Rashad just has to eat a bullet right there, and that sets everything off. And then you're like, they didn't have to do Felicia like that. No, actually, they did not have to do Felicia like that. It's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. But then we got to have Statham be Statham, so you're in.
Sweet deal. Yeah, I actually can't wait to go see it just because I love dumb action movies, but something about Statham is like, he sells it for me. For sure. I don't know why. It's like he's like our modern day, like those old action 80s movies that you could just plop in Sylvester Stallone and it's like a terrible plot. It doesn't make any sense. But just because Stallone was in it, everybody just loved it. And to me, that's like just what Statham is doing now. As long as it's not an Expendables movie, like, I'm totally down for it.
This was definitely better than Expendables 4. Yeah.
That's a low bar. That's a
Yeah,
low bar.
it is. It is. So, but it at least has that much going for it. Um, but yeah, man. As we talk right now, the Golden Globes have been going on for I think about an hour now. So if you haven't been paying attention, Robert Downey Jr. won the best supporting actor of anything. There'll be a best supporting drama and a best supporting comedy later, but anything. So that they gave that to RDJ, and then Stevie Wynn and Ali Wong, but won both their categories for Beef, which I haven't seen, but people say it's really good. But I'm just like, I don't want to see angry people beef,
Yeah.
no pun intended. And then yeah, we're the woman who played the lunch lady in The Holdovers, who was the best character in the movie. However, after you get past her 5 minutes, there's still 2 hours and 10 more minutes left in this movie. But she also won, and that's pretty great for her. So, but did you have any thoughts on tonight's Academy Awards, or excuse me, Golden Globes?
Uh, RDJ winning for Oppenheimer does not surprise me. I had a
Right?
feeling when I watched that movie and saw his performance, I was like, I don't know. For some reason, I was like, I don't know who else is going to be nominated, but I just feel like he was going to be the lead to get to get it. I mean, Ryan Gosling for Barbie and Robert De Niro, but
Mhm.
I just feel like with that movie and how big it was, it's not surprising that I just feel like RDJ is going to be like raking in those awards.
There was another movie called Anatomy of a Fall, which I believe is actually a foreign film. At least I think it is. I
Mhm.
saw a trailer for it when I was in the Netherlands. So maybe that's the only reason why I'm putting it together. But that one for best screenplay, and then
Nice.
Jeremy Allen White so far has won for his role on The Bear, which I dated a Chicago chef. I am not reliving that shit on Hulu. No, thank you. So yeah, they're wild and wacky. I understand. Yeah, they're chaotic. I get it.
Yeah, it's really good. I really enjoyed that
Okay.
that show. And yeah, so far everything's going the way I heard. The Anatomy of a Fall. It's just I haven't been able to watch it, but a lot of lists so far are saying that it's one of the top 10 movies of the year. That and Poor Things. So I
Yeah.
gotta go watch those movies at some point.
I was completely surprised this thing was happening tonight. I guess we should just say January 7th. It's I remember it always being a little closer to the Oscars, and then people would gauge like what would have like, oh, Oscars
Yeah.
is next week, so I guess RDJ is going to win for that. But like they haven't even made their nominations yet. That's still like another 3 weeks to go.
Yeah,
Um,
that's kind of crazy. Because yeah, you're right. I always put those two together that they're so close, and that's not the case right now. Yeah, I haven't heard anything. I've been like trying to check for award stuff because normally that's when I like start boning up on the movies that I hadn't gotten to when
mhm.
they first initially released. But all I see is like Oscar watch predictions, and it's like I
Mhm.
don't I that doesn't help me.
Yeah, we don't even have the list yet, guys. I don't know what we're predicting yet. I have been pretty good about just avoiding all the Oscar bait stuff so far this year. Like one of it, none has grabbed my attention. Like I need to see this before a list comes out. Um,
Hmm.
but then like the stuff I am hearing, like I hear there's like wild shit happening in Saltburn, and then finally I just held some dude down. I was like, "Spoil it for me!" And he's like, "Blah blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Really? That's
Yeah.
it? You see crazier shit than that on Fox, all right? Like." I don't
I,
even want
I
to waste my time on Prime with this. No, thank you.
yeah, I just saw it was on Prime and I was like, maybe I should watch it. And then I heard somebody, another podcast talk about it and was like, all right, I don't need to go see it now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just like I don't care. So it's still got this thing that's shocking Midwestern Americans, but it's still about the snooty, skinny white people that I just would not relate to. Okay, gotcha. However, it's feeling more and more like we're going to end up having to see it for that Best Picture conversation.
Really, Saltburn? I heard it stinks. I
Uh,
really don't want to watch it.
what was it? Triangle of Sadness was
Oh
pretty
my
goddamn terrible, and that
gosh.
still somehow was one of the 10 last year.
I don't know. They just needed a filler for that one. Holy heck. I forgot about Triangle of Sadness. That was so bad.
Yeah, it was not fun. It
Oh.
was a sad time, one might say. So let's let's talk about the first quarter, bud. Yeah, we're I am not excited about stuff, but I got a list of three here. In fact, if we end up having like all three of the same movies, Like I'm prepared just to look at. Well, Wizard of Oz is coming out in February. Hey, it's a Fathom event, so it's like one night only. You should definitely see that. So I'm prepared to go that route. What do you got, buddy? Start us off.
So just to let everybody know that I have nothing in line for January. I don't have a single January release. I tried to get one from every single month.
I honestly
I
don't
couldn't do
blame
it.
you. I don't
I
blame
couldn't
you.
do it. So I just a little sidebar. I went to go see the Hunger Games movie with said friend that I mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
and I the Mean Girls thing came on, the promo ad came on, and I was like, "Oh, what is this?" I had no idea what the movie was for the longest time while watching it,
Okay.
watching the trailer. Then when I finally found out what it was, I was like, "That was probably the worst trailer I've ever
Oh.
seen in my life." I just did not like it whatsoever. I didn't understand it. I was like, they're really going for a nostalgia bait. Come to find out, they're trying to hide that it's a musical, which I
Mhm.
just found out last night from like people in my chats and Patreon
Oh.
because I brought it up and they were like, oh, it's a musical. So that's why it doesn't make
Mhm.
sense. And I was like, it's worse. That's so bad. Why would they do that?
They
Anyways, that's
yeah,
coming
they
out in January and I'm not going to go see it.
okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, what is on the first one on your list that you are going to see?
The first
Possibly.
one on the list is coming out the first weekend of February, and that is the comedy, romantic comedy movie called Argyle,
Okay.
which is the Sam Rockwell,
Mhm.
Bryce Dallas Howard, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah. And a huge ensemble cast
Mhm.
of just Henry Cavill. You got Bryan Cranston in it as well.
Hmm.
Basically, she is an author, and then she wraps herself into an actual mystery and spy movie because whatever she writes in her books happens in real life. So the bad guys, Bryan Cranston, is trying to grab her, and then Sam Rockwell is part of a spy agency trying to save her. It looks super cheesy, and I wasn't like sold on it from the very beginning. But after a couple of times of seeing this trailer and then seeing the ensemble of what the cast is for this, I was like, you know what? Maybe it could be good. It reminds me of in the same realm, almost exactly the same realm. Now that I'm bringing this up, but isn't it like I can't think of the movie's name. It has Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum in it,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
she
Yeah. That just came out like a couple years ago. Maybe even
Paradise
last
City.
year.
Yeah,
Uh,
Paradise
uh,
City or something like that.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something
And
like
that was
that.
very much like Romancing the Stone. So it's
Exactly.
yeah.
It's almost one for one. She is a an author that writes
Mhm.
about these stories about a treasure and somehow it's real and then they have to go find it. Almost one for one, except this is a spy version of it
Mhm.
and maybe less likable leads, in my opinion. I hate to
Mhm.
say it, but it's just, but hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's fun. Hopefully it's quirky. I thought Paradise City was charming in some ways and kind of funny.
Yeah.
All the jokes in the trailer looked like trash, but hopefully those are the worst ones.
I'm also while it's not on my list, I am looking forward to Argyle. It looks like a Guy Ritchie movie, which is
Yeah.
kind of throwing me off every time I keep thinking like, oh, it's the guy who did Kick-Ass and the other movies. Like, oh, all right, well, yeah, I definitely want to see this. And then I keep thinking that Sam Rockwell is Luke Wilson for some reason.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not me.
Same.
Okay.
No, it's the same. I every time the trailer comes on, I'm like, oh, when they meet on the train, I'm like, oh, Owen Wilson's in this movie. And then Sam Rockwell. I'm like, how? What?
Okay, so I'm glad it's not me. And then finally, three, they're selling the hell out of this CGI cat. Like, I don't know what to make
Yeah.
of that. So, but yeah, I am looking forward to the Argyle. And yeah, that's like the first week of February, I think.
Yeah.
So,
February 2nd, it said on this Hollywood Reporter site.
okay. So, first movie on my list is actually coming out January 19th. That's in about 2 weeks. And International Space Station, ISS. This is directed by Gabrielle Copperwhite. If I'm mispronounced everybody's name. I'm so sorry, directors and writers. But it stars some dude named Chris Messia, who I believe I've heard of, but Academy Award winning Ariana DeBose. She is from West Side Story. And it's very simple. An astronaut team of Americans meets up with an astronaut team of Russians, and they are on the ISS. And as they are, having fun doing science stuff in space, astronaut work, a nuclear war breaks out on the planet. And then they get a radio comm saying, like, Hey, Americans, you got to take over the ISS. Meanwhile, the Russians are getting the same message, and it becomes like a whodunit and a murder. Like it looks pretty tense. I'm just like, all right, yeah, 95 minutes, so hopefully it'll be pretty fun. I
Sweet
hate though
deal.
whoever decided to use this quote from the Hollywood Reporter, like apparently people can hear you scream in space. I was like, shut up, fuck you. They left the name off for a reason. The person was like, do not put my name on that fucking quote. Thank you.
Yeah, this looks interesting. I haven't even heard of this movie. But somehow it was included on the 2020's blacklist of most liked unproduced screenplays.
Hmm.
And then they decided to pick it up. Somebody decided to make it actually, and it's a Bleecker Street production, which I actually really like those movies. And at the
They
moment,
do a
right
pretty good
now,
job.
it has a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes out of 13 critic reviews.
Hmm.
So that's pretty positive for a January release. So you
All
kind of
right.
got me intrigued with this one.
Yeah, man. Well, that's coming out January the 19th. Well, what's your number two, Drew Angelman?
All right. So if you told me a while ago that this would be on one of my most anticipated movies list, I would say you were lying
Okay.
because I am not a huge fan of science fiction,
Oh,
let alone these big movies. And I'm not a huge fan of Timothy Chalamet, but
okay.
in March 1st, the release of Dune Part 2 is coming out.
Mhm.
And when that first iteration was coming out, and it was a weird timing for it to come out. It was coming out like once movie theaters were starting to open up a little bit again, but movies were still being released straight to streaming services as well as theaters. So I have HBO Max, now just Max. I decided I was gonna just watch it one night because it was long. I could just like put it on and everything. And I was actively mad at myself that I didn't try to go see that in IMAX or the theater because I have A-list. And what else am I doing with my life if I'm not going to go see 3 movies a week at this point?
Mhm.
And I actually really enjoyed it. I liked the story. It was slow, but I kind of liked the build up of the story. And for some reason, when I saw Dune Part 2 was slated to come out in March, I kind of got excited, especially when compared to everything else that was linked into the quarter 1 movies that are supposed to come out. And yeah, I'm totally down to see this. I don't know what to expect,
Mhm.
but I'm expecting 2.5 hours of just crazy sandworms and whistling and sword fights with bubbles around each other. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, can't say I'm looking forward to Dune Part Two. I gave Dune Part One a chance, and it's a solid movie. Like
Mhm.
it's not. I don't think there's anything bad about it. It's yes, it's a little long. My biggest complaint about Dune was when the opening title card said Dune, because we had all been expecting Dune, and then right under it sneaks Part One. And I was like, oh no, oh
Yeah.
no. And then once we get through the rest of the movie, like, then it just kind of doesn't really end, but it definitely veers off the road and pulls over and takes a nap. And I was just like,
Yeah.
oh. And again, part one. And then finally, the reports came out like, we're waiting to go into production for part two. It's like, you haven't even done part two yet? And you decided to call it part one? This is wild. This is ballsy. Ballsy, I say. So,
That's like back in the day when they used to make like a 6 episode season 1 of a show, and it was like a murder mystery show, and they try to set up all of these plot lines, and then come to find out it didn't do so well with the audiences, so they just cut it off. And then it's just 6 episodes. It's just a show that's out there that answers no questions, nothing happens, and it's over. And that could easily happen with
yeah.
this. I mean, especially with the budget it has and the time it came out. I mean, they could have eaten such massive cost for it, and they just hope
Well,
that this one does better.
it was a weird time, not just for America, but for the rest of the world. So
True.
when Dune did come out, um, all of Europe was open. Like so, Dune made a good chunk of coin. I don't know if it made its money back, but it definitely made more money overseas than it did in the United States. And
Yeah.
then you could still watch it on HBO Max, but it was you could still go to the IMAX if you I don't know how to break this to you, Drew, but sand on the IMAX looks the same as sand on your TV screen. It's yeah, it's
What?
yeah. I don't know how to break this to you, man. So don't hate me for that, but it's true. Yeah. Cillian
Yeah.
Murphy's face looks huge on the IMAX, also, by the way, in 70 millimeter, but it looks he's also huge just on my regular TV. It's pretty crazy. So
I do agree with you that Dune Part One, I don't think blew my mind or was like even I don't even think it cracked into my top 5 movies of that
mhm,
year. I just think that I had such low expectations going into it, and then I
mhm.
was just kind of like I found myself like kind of entranced in some aspects of the movie. So I went in with such low expectations and was blown out of the water, but I agree with you. It was definitely not one of those where I was like, this is revolutionary. This is incredible.
Well, compared to David Lynch's movie, it's phenomenal. Honestly, have you seen the David Lynch Dune?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, same. Well, not same. I've tried to watch Dune, David Lynch's Dune, multiple times, and usually don't make it past the first 10 minutes. Honestly, I usually end up perfect cure for insomnia. That movie is so bizarre. So when you have Denis Villeneuve's Dune, you're just like, oh, this is different. This is actually better. It's keeping my attention. I want to know where this is going. Oh, I'm seeing where lots of other movies have borrowed from this story.
Mhm.
But tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me more. So also the entire time I'm watching Dune Part One, I'm like, it smells like mahogany and cologne. I don't know why. So, anyways, that's my observation there. Um, my number two is February 14th, Valentine's Day, Bob Marley's One Love. It's a biopic by all the people who've done Bohemian Rhapsody and the Whitney Houston thing and the Elton John thing. And I'm sure there was like one or two more in there, and they all kind of degrade with quality the more they keep putting these out, this team. But it is directed by Ronaldo Marcus Green. He did directed Will Smith's King Richard.
Okay.
This stars Kingsley Ben-Adir, who I believe is one of Bob Marley's grandsons. I may have misheard that. And then James Norton and Lashana Lynch. Um, it looks like a Bob Marley biopic, so if anything, it should at least be informative and have a good soundtrack if you see it in the theater. Yeah.
Yeah, I almost actually put this on my list. So I'm glad you're talking about it because
Mhm.
I know of Bob Marley music. I've definitely heard it throughout my entire life, but I don't know much about him as a person. Like I've never like gone. He's one of those artists is like he's on t-shirts. He's
Mhm.
in the zeitgeist. He's iconic. I
Mhm.
mean, everybody knows at least one of his
For some
songs.
reason, your cousin in Wisconsin has a poster on his closet for like,
Yeah.
you don't listen to reggae. Shut up.
I mean, and that's a great point too because it's like in movies, past movies, even newer movies, they put him somewhere in like a dorm room or anything like that, and so it's like I'm intrigued. I love whenever the trailer comes on because they play his songs and you
Mhm.
just kind of like get into a rhythm. I don't know. I kind of got hyped when I went to go see Killer of the Flower Moon and that was playing beforehand because then it's like get you a little bit you get a little pep in your step before the movie starts,
Mhm.
and then you get like 2.5 hours into a movie about terrible stuff that people have done. And it's just like, oh my gosh, I just want to go see that Bob Marley movie.
Well,
So
they
I'm actually
do.
looking forward to this.
They also do that thing in the trailer where they take the old school needle drop and then they break it up to this dramatic effect. So like you get
Yeah.
"Don't worry, bong," and you're like, oh, you perk up a little like about it, and your ears perk up like a dog. Like what's happening here? Like, and it just keeps going like a Bob Marley biopic. All right, tell me more. And then they finally start playing the. Anyway, yeah, that's my number two. One Love.
Sweet deal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
really good.
totally down with that one. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm looking for it more than my third pick, but I'm still looking forward to my third pick, even though I feel like I don't know. It feels controversial to pick this movie. Um,
Controversy.
kind of like what we were talking about. It's another sequel to a pretty recent movie that came out. Um, so kind of like how I felt about Dune 1 is the same and how I feel about Dune 2 coming out is how I feel about this sequel coming out. And it's March 29th, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, so like I watched the first Ghostbuster, think it's really good. I
Mhm.
actually liked it more than I did growing up when I watched it in college. And then time had passed, and then this new one comes out, and I have again low expectations.
And you're
It's
talking
a
about Afterlife.
Yeah, the Afterlife
Okay.
movie that came out. I have low expectations. I know this is just probably a cash grab. You don't have all the Ghostbusters, and you don't know where it's heading towards. And then I
Mhm.
watched it, and I kind of just like turned my brain off, and it was a fun time. I don't
Mhm.
care if it doesn't make any sense with the trailer or whatever. It was actually pretty entertaining, at least, which is
Mhm.
kind of like what I was going into the movie to do. So
Mhm.
I found myself enjoying it enough to where when I saw a little bit of a trailer for this new Ghostbusters, I kind of was like, "Oh, that's coming out. I kind of want to go see it." So hopefully it's just as entertaining. It looks pretty intriguing. It can't be worse than Ghostbusters 2, in my opinion, the original. So hopefully it's going to be good. Hopefully they don't just do the same plot and kind of rinse repeat it to being uh just colder, but hopefully it's gonna be fun and more exciting. But yeah, just I'm just looking for a fun Ghostbusters movie.
I was also super skeptical about Ghostbusters Afterlife. Like I went there to see it like almost as an obligation, probably just to review it for the waffle box or whatever it was. And then it ended up becoming my favorite movie of that year. I didn't say the
Oh
best
wow.
movie of that year, but it became my favorite movie of that year. Like I was just like, all right, I was not expecting that whatsoever. And yes, you pull on that thread, the sweater will come apart. But just again, I had a great time, hit all the right nostalgia buttons, and then I was like, oh, they're gonna try and do another one. I don't know, guys. And this time, like Jason Reitman's now not involved, and I was like, I don't know, guys. And then they made it, and I was like, oh, you have a trailer, and it looks different.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I don't know why the icicles have to be so spiky and violent. There isn't that much water in New York to create such violent. Maybe I'm just overthinking that shit, but I am interested in seeing the new Ghostbusters as well, whatever it's called.
Frozen Empire,
Frozen
apparently.
Empire. Okay, yeah, it's not
Yeah.
a bad name either. It's not a bad name. So we'll see what happens. It seems to be in the vein of the old Ghostbusters cartoon serial. Did you ever see any of the real Ghostbusters?
I've seen. I remember there was like a cartoon that was out that I enjoyed watching as a kid, more so than I knew about the movie
Okay.
growing up.
And
But I enjoyed
Slimer's in
that.
it, and like
Mhm.
so. Yeah, that went on for about 5 years, and they had some original ter- horrific stories, man. Where I was just like, wow, this is a children's show. This is amazing. Some intense images of horror where like people's jaws are like collapsing. Anyway, you should check it out. I believe majority of them are free on YouTube on like an official Ghostbusters channel. So
Ooh,
yeah, it's a
sweet deal.
Sony. It'd be a Sony product, so it's on YouTube. I know that for a fact. So anyway, my number three for the first quarter, March 15th, 2024. It is titled 1992. It will definitely be a hard R, and it's going to be in a limited run. It's directed by Ariel Vroman. I'm not really familiar with any of this person's work, but it is one of the last performances of the great Ray Liotta, uh, a young Scott Eastwood, and then Mr. Tyrese Gibson is the daddy. And it's I believe it's a fictional story taking place around the Rodney King riots in 1992. So I think like
Okay.
that's the only true thing that happened is like they were just riots. Meanwhile, Tyrese's son is caught up in something stupid, and Ray Liotta and Scott Eastwood are possibly dirty crooks or dirty cops. Anyway, some little shit's going down during the riots, and Tyrese has to rescue his kid. Should be a good time.
Wow. Yeah, I have not heard anything about this movie, but I
You know
like the
what's crazy?
cast.
I saw the trailer. Like I know that's why I know this thing exists. I saw the trailer at what movie I forget. However, could not find it on YouTube this afternoon while I was researching all this stuff.
Yeah, I have a Ray Liotta, Scott Eastwood, Tyrese Gibson
Interview.
IMDb page. The original title apparently was April 29th, 1992.
Oh,
They
that
just
just
shortened
rolls
it
right
to
off the tongue.
1992. Yeah, wow. I'm I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by this because it has Ray Liotta. It has Tyrese Gibson. I
Mhm.
mean, this is
When
actually a pretty decent cast. So
when
I'm
Tyrese brings it, he's a pretty good actor when he wants to be, or I guess if he's given the right material. I don't know. Maybe he's
as
gotten a
long
little
as
too comfy.
as long as it's not a Fast and Furious movie,
Oh
he
yeah,
can he can actually be a good actor.
yeah, I agree.
Because apparently they have it in their contracts they can't be better actors than Vin Diesel, so they
Oh,
really have to dumb. Everybody has to dumb down their acting.
jeez. Well, it's a good paycheck, so fuck it. Yeah,
Yeah, true.
I'll dumb shit down for you, Vin Diesel. Oh, so anyway, that's my number three, 1992.
Nice.
Yeah. So other than that, man, yeah, I was fortunate to find those three. Hopefully they're good. And then, sometimes these movies don't make it to my local theater. Like again,
Hmm.
Polite Society was mentioned several times over last year, but I had to go through strange means to find it. Like I couldn't just go to the normal megaplex down the street, and I didn't feel like getting stabbed downtown. And then I ended up at a little mom and pop theater, which probably wasn't any easier to get to than the place I would have gotten stabbed. Um, but anyways, so that's all I'm saying, guys. I think this is might be the best of what we have to work with this first 3 months.
Yeah, nothing here screams like a Megan or
Mm.
Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear is so much fun.
But I will say that we each
Knock
came
at the
up with
Cabin.
six different movies. Oh, Knock at the Cabin. Yeah, I forgot that came out early
Mm.
last year. But I think we came up with six actually decent movies because I kind of was looking at things going, yikes, I think we're gonna have the same movies here. Like
Mm.
there's not a whole lot to choose from. And none of us picked Mean Girls. So that's all that really matters here.
I haven't seen the original Mean Girls still. Everyone keeps telling me it's hilarious. I love Tina Fey. I was loving Tina Fey at this time. That was just 20 years ago. So I was just like, yeah. And it's just no opportunity has ever been available to me to ever watch it. I'm sure it's on Netflix, but nothing has drawn me to it. It was a very successful musical in San Francisco for like a couple of years, I want to say. So I only know of the poster. And then when I saw that trailer, I was like, all right, I guess. But you got the same cast? Why not? Sure.
Yeah, and that's what's coming out this year is the musical. To me, I was in the right demographic. I
Mm.
just wasn't the specific demographic. I feel like it was really targeted towards. And also, I have this really terrible feature about myself. This one
Oh,
giant flaw about myself
what's that?
is that whenever something is super loved and everybody loves this thing and they can't stop talking about it and it's everybody's favorite thing, I have to hate it for some reason. I have to poke holes in it. I have to be skeptical. I have to be like, no, that's terrible. So I didn't appreciate it. I know if I rewatched it, I would be like, this is actually really good. And I know I would have huge like nostalgia feel for like because it was around the time that I was like growing up and everybody that I grew up with, especially if they were a woman, they love this movie. They love
Yeah,
Mean Girls. It's like in there with Bridesmaid. It's like it's just a national treasure. And I
Clueless.
just never yeah, I love Clueless. So I know probably feel like I love Mean Girls, but for some reason I have this trigger where it's like if anything is popular, I just have to like downplay it. So I
I
gotta rewatch
semi
it.
relate to what you're saying. Like Stranger Things, for example. Now, I'm not going to go out of my way to hate it. I think like that's wasted energy. But the more people kept talking about that first season of Stranger Things, and like one day there was nothing, and then the following Monday, like it's all over my Twitter feed, all over my
Yeah.
Facebook feed. Multiple news outlets have made thumbnails in the Stranger Things font. I'm like, what is happening here? Like, I don't. And again, the more I heard about it, and I didn't hear anything negative, but the more I heard about it, I was like, I don't want anything to do with that. And
Yeah.
and I've still not seen anything from Stranger Things. I have no reason to believe it's not a good show, but for some reason, like the more you dum dums keep talking about it, the more I'm just like, maybe I'll just stay over here.
Yeah. I was the same thing with Breaking Bad for the longest time
Still
because
haven't seen Breaking Bad.
everybody loved it. I tried to watch the first episode like a couple of times and I was
Mhm.
just like not into it. And then there was one day where I was just like, I was either sick or going through a breakup. I can't remember, probably both. And I was like, I have nothing to do, and I have all day to do it. So I was like, I'm just gonna
I
watch the
understand.
first 3 episodes, and I loved it. And I got into it like with 2 episodes left before they were wrapping it up. So I was like, I'm just gonna watch it all. So there was a point where I was like, I'm slowly getting over it to try to like open up my mind, but it still creeps in.
Oh,
When
no,
it comes to sports teams or anything, I'm like, no, that guy sucks. I don't care if he's breaking records. He sucks.
no, that's a whole other thing. That's you supporting your sports team. I get that too. So, but yeah, what was it? Yeah. Anyway, never seen the Stranger Things. Haven't seen the Breaking Bad. Sons of Anarchy. People will tell me like it's the most realistic thing I've ever seen. Kush. And I was like, if you want real, I can hang out with meth heads who drive motorcycles right now, man. You want to hang out with a biker gang? I know where the bikers are hanging, dude. Like it's not a good time. And guess what? At the end of 30 minutes, they're still there, and
Yeah.
bad shit might go down, and you would be a part of it. Like, get the hell out of here. So, I think we're getting ready to wrap this up. But while we're here, because you're listening to this in live time, people, The Boy and the Heron won Best Animated.
Nice.
And then Christopher Nolan wins Best Director for Oppenheimer.
Sweet deal. Also,
that's pretty
Kieran Culkin won for drama TV in Succession, which it
Succession.
should clean up because it was the final season. So
Succession again. I've only heard great things about it.
Yeah.
No drive to watch it. So, but yeah, man. So that's all I got for this first quarter here. Is anything coming up on Angelcake Entertainment's radar?
I'm coming up with a lot of content. I have loosely scheduled my next 3 months. So my first quarter, I have loosely scheduled out, but I know things are going to change. Things are already changing, and we're just getting into the second week of January. So that's very interesting, but I'm just taking it as it goes, flowing with it. I got a lot of content that I want to get out this year, like documentaries and docuseries and some more journalistic vibes to like certain reality TV stuff or anything. So I'm really just trying to open it up while also growing over at patreon.com/angelcakevids, as well as the YouTube channel. But I'm just trying to feed my soul with the creativity of projects that I'm doing rather than just putting out content just to put it out and hopefully make a quick buck for it. So that's what I'm hoping to get accomplished this year.
That's what's up. Folks, you know what I do. I'm not going to go through the rap tonight, but it's the Waffle Box, the original Waffle Box, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, for funniest man in the room, Drew Angelman, I've been Kush Hayes. You've been you.
Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
From the Bosnet family.
I heard it stinks. I really don't want to watch it.